All right, I think we are recording now. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. This is my bro Lewis, who you guys have seen a couple times. And we have the infamous Jamie Lewis and his cat. We didn't get the cat's name.
This is Forfin.
Okay, cool,
Nice.
cool.
Yeah,
So she's
Forfin is her
going to be a
name.
star. She's going to be the whole star of the show.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
see,
for
like
sure.
me, she stays high on catnip. Yowza catnip is the shit. So
My four are just sleeping.
I'm on the other end. I'm completely sober over 4 years, no alcohol, nothing. So, yeah.
oh, well, congratulations, man.
Thank you. Had to do it though, man. Had to do it. It changed my life for the better. I just,
Yeah, I definitely drinking was not. I think we all got caught up in the because Lewis, I don't know how old you are. Are you around in your 40s?
31.
Oh, man,
okay,
you're
so-
a baby because I'm 46.
You missed this, but you're 46 too. So I'm 46. So I was just about to turn 47. And we grew up like with the 80s with Arnold and Stallone comparing each other and constantly competing in the movies, like who killed more people, who was bigger, who was more lean. And so we just constantly like harder, faster, harder, more extreme. And we kept going fucking crazy. So by the 2000s, we were out of our fucking minds.
Yeah.
We were just doing everything 1,000%, not thinking about anything. We were like the bad guys in Dude, Where's My Car? Just screaming extreme all the time. Like I used to do I used to go into grocery stores and just start doing that song "Twist" by Korn. And people would just shit their pants, but like. That's how fired up we were, So like,
that's our generation.
There was no off switch, and I think that really got away with us back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sweet.
It was like, and our generation was more extreme. I mean, and we did everything to the limits, including our drinking.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Like, there was no like have a couple drinks. We were just. It was how long could you ignore being drunk? And then by that time, you were a sloppy mess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I've done some embarrassing stuff while drunk.
Oh yes, we all for sure, 100%. I've done embarrassing shit sober, so
But you know what? I never wake up after smoking weed and wonder, fuck, what did I do yesterday? Because I have one shot, and I'm like, the next day, I'm like, oh fuck, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do? Did I fuck with anybody? I didn't fuck with anybody. I didn't say anything stupid. All right, I'm good. But then I still worry about it the rest of the day, like, because I still have that residual fear. So, but I never do that with weed.
Your only biggest concern is, did you eat some extra pizza before you passed out,
But when I'm high, I love to walk anyway, but when I'm high, I just go outside and like pet kitties. So I'm constantly going into third world squats, and then I do a lot of walking. So like I'm out there like doing calisthenics and shit. And so like I burn off all those extra calories. I eat pizza constantly.
Yeah.
I had pizza last night, so. But I do about one big cheat meal a week. Otherwise, like for me right now, it's mostly just fruit and lean protein. But it's like 4,500 calories.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How the fuck do you eat fruit? And so what are you eating?
Watermelon, bananas, Greek yogurt, chicken. But I mean, it's nothing for me to polish off a whole watermelon, which is about
4,500 calories of chicken.
Well, of fruit.
So what, like 2 whole rotisserie chickens and then a cup of Greek yogurt and some fruit? That's what you eat?
No, I mean, it's pounds and pounds of fruit. Like, so I'll eat a whole watermelon and then maybe a dozen bananas over the day. And then I'll work in protein in between, It's just... I feel my best when I eat that way. I just rotated back to that. I went away from it a few weeks and added more fat in. And I'm like, I feel better when I do tons of fruit. I just feel better. I mean, that's what it comes down to,
All right. Because you run gear and because you're doing this weird shit to your liver, because you're doing some real weird shit to your liver right now with your, with how much fructose you're stuffing into it, because there's only so much it can hold. So you might want to just have your doctor take a look at your liver profile every now and again.
Actually, my stuff wasn't bad.
Cool. I'm just, it's something to keep an eye on, because that's a weird amount of fruit. And like humans,
I was surprised my triglycerides.
That's a weird amount of fruit. Like so. What is your carbohydrate intake like?
I don't even count the grams. So I mean, it's got to be 800 grams, 700.
Yeah, easily. Surely.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. He took a normal thing, like eat some fruit, and then he went the way of that 12 bananas a day guy or whatever the fuck that guy was doing, and then added powerlifting. So you were in, and you just did the whole thing way too hard altogether. So so you're eating like a diabetic gorilla if it was also a carnivorous diabetic gorilla. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, so you're a diabetic carnivorous gorilla.
Yeah,
Shaved.
pretty
Or you could
much.
be called worse.
You know, but
Or
the thing
chimpanzee,
is-
I guess, because you're short like me, right? So there you go. More of a chimp. You're a grotesquely large chimp. Well, that's terrifying. That's
well, and
terrifying.
I change things around quite a bit, just based on how I feel. But I've noticed that whenever I do really high fruit phases, I just feel better. My sleep is better, my mood's better, I recover better. You know.
Well, fuck it. If it works, stick with it. That's why.
And I agree. I think the fructose intake part is interesting. And so when I had my triglycerides and stuff checked before on that, I wanted to see if they were high, if they were elevated from it, and they weren't. Like my triglycerides were at the bottom of the normal range, and I'm like, okay, then I guess it's fine. My fasting glucose was a little low, actually.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? If it works for you, it doesn't seem to bother Forfin at all. So, well, hey, go for it. Biochemical individuality exists because people can do weird shit, and like 25% of the people on the planet have their heart on the right side of their body. So you are that guy who's like, yeah, I eat like a carnivore, the extra carnivorous chimp, and that's what I look like. And I mean, you eat what you look like, and there you go. You're like one of those terrifying chimps out on the Serengeti who are out there like eating the other troops and conducting wars on orangutans and stuff.
Except I'm pretty chill. I'm chill these days, man. My guitar's in the background. I play blues all day long in between.
Do you really? Your shoulders look fucking great, man, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I threw some laterals in recently, you know.
Cool.
Again, you know, powerlifters
sorry,
aren't
I didn't
supposed
hit
to
the
do those. You know, powerlifters aren't supposed to do those single joint exercises, right? You know, it's
you guys are really locked into a whole thing. You guys are locked right on in.
Which is
I don't know. I don't.
Well, that's a hilarious.
Dude, you guys, it's a good thing you have priests at most of your things, so you can have it blessed by the appropriate gods. You know, so you can do biomechanically advantageous lifts that will eventually degrade your body over time, so that you are a cripple by the time you're 50, and your children hate you. It's the only sport that guarantees your kids will hate you, and you'll be a cripple by 50.
There you go. Yeah, but I'm not a cripple though, so we're good. But that's
you're not 50 yet. You're not 50 yet. And luckily, you live in a place where it's not going to get icy, so you're not going to tear a hamstring that way. But you will go down at some point, and you will tear a bunch of shit.
Oh no, can't have that. Well, that's why we have fatigue management, and I do mostly pump work, anyways. It's kind of like Lewis and I talked about before. What's the key to getting strong, playing the long game? Do the amount of heavy work that you need to get stronger, and just get big. Do hypertrophy training. Train your hamstrings.
I agree.
Biceps. You know, do 10 rep sets. Do some 20 rep sets. Do some high rep band work. You know,
until you're cramping so hard you can't physically continue, which is the most interesting thing I've ever heard in my life. Tell me more about this method. I want to know about the cramping method.
Oh, the cramping. I think it's my hamstrings more than anything. It seems like the glute ham raises do that to me.
Okay, because that's the thing that I want to hear most about. That happened before we started filming. He was telling me about how he does 10 to 20 reps, and that he just goes until he cramps, and he physically can't move. And so I just
it hits me 3 or 4 hours later. So I'll finish my workouts, and then I'll get.
So you don't get sore, but you'll just start randomly. You'll be like pulled up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, absolutely. Or be sitting down doing something like this, doing a video, doing a live stream or whatever. And then when I finish it and go to stand up, and then both of my hamstrings just cramp concurrently, and then my abs, and then I've got to try to waddle into the living room.
I used to have that problem significantly. I've spent the last few years like aggressively doing self deep tissue massage. Okay. This arm's still kind of goofy looking because I dislocated my elbow and my shoulder at the same time doing doing skull crushers of all things. But my muscles were so fucked up because I'd torn this bicep and this tricep, and and everything was in the wrong spot, that this arm just like flopped out of position. And then the only thing I could do to kill the pain was get drunk. I didn't put it back into position. I just got drunk and then kind of wrapped it to my body. And so my shoulder was stuck up here and my arm was kind of locked in this position. So I couldn't straighten my arm at all. And it's only now that I can get to the point where I'm straightening my arm for the first time in 3 years, but still looks a little wonky because like there's squishy shit where like the muscle should be hard. It's not quite in the right spot. But that was what I was talking about. With powerlifting, you're doing these biomechanically advantageous lifts, like arching your back on real hard on a bench. You're not doing any actual fucking work, especially my God, the little girls with their crazy arches. They're not doing like they don't have any muscle on them because they're not doing any work. Yeah, but then you had Rick Weil back in 1983. He benched 581 at 181 with a completely flat back, and that was with a 2-second pause. And he had a beautiful chest. So I came to the realization, lifting like a power lifter is not the way to go. It really fucked me up. And I used to, my abs would cramp up so hard when I would try to tie my shoes, which I'm sure you have this problem, that I would like nearly black out sometimes. And so I'd have to take my shoe off, tie it, and then stick my foot in it. Do you have that problem?
Only right after a leg day.
Okay. But that is a problem. And that's a mobility problem and a flexibility problem and a knotting problem. So it's, I recommend you stop powerlifting.
That's just your general advice, though, isn't it? Anyway.
It really, I recommend everybody stop being in their sport.
I largely bench that way anyways, like you're describing. I have a modest arch and I have long arms, so I'm like, I just need a bigger chest. That's ultimately my goal. Like if I just get more stacked, my bench will go up. So, because I have a pretty long range of motion on my bench. So I do pinkies on the rings. I don't go way out. I don't run a big arch. I'm flat-footed. And I do a lot of rep work on it, so it's like, I think my best recent was 315 for 8 pause reps.
Well, that's a good bench though, dude.
Yeah.
But maybe try moving your width out, because that was an old school method, was work your width out as wide as you can go and stick with that weight doing 8 reps like you're doing, because that's the way. And then as you can get that 8 reps up, you increase the weight, it drops down to 6 or 5, and then you work back up to 8 reps at that weight and then drop it back down. So, I mean, you're doing it right. I would just suggest, because I got in that thing too, where I was always doing close grips and I was doing reverse grips because I could not physically grab the bar any wider. I couldn't also grab the bar behind my back. I used
to be that way. So I was doing all close grip, and then I went over to pinkies on the rings, and I've experimented out even wider, but pinkies on the rings feels good to me. It stacks my wrist. I get a good chest pump. So I mean, I do like 1 heavy set, then I'll drop down to even 245 and just, do a couple of high rep sets and go over to incline afterwards.
Nice.
And then triceps and stuff. Yeah, I'm finding for me, incline carries over to my flat bench very, very well.
Nice.
So I do those all pause. I like pause incline work, pause for a 1 count on the chest on each rep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I would recommend that. Another thing that I've picked up in my readings, and it's something that I've been doing more, and it's the reason why I tore this bicep and nearly tore this one. We do everything with bent arms. We've always done bent arm laterals and bent arm flies, and it's because insurance companies told us to do them that way. It's incorrect. And the old school guys, like, they actually, and this is something I haven't written about, but I will. This is an exclusive for your thing. This is what people did to contest the chest back in the day before there was a bench press. They would do flies. So straight arm flies laying on the floor, single rep to the top. And you had to be able to hold it off the ground and then hold it at full extension. But your arms had to stay fully locked the entire time. And initially I was reading they were calling it like 110. And I was like, who the fuck is doing a single from a dead stop with 110s? Like, Superman couldn't do that shit. And then it turns out they were doubling it was 55. 55. But I was like, when the first time I read it, I was like, how on earth is that happening? Yeah. But holy shit, dude, it hurts, but it feels really good. I recommend you do that and straight arm pullovers. And that's just because I'm trying to proselytize these things because it's something I've learned and it's something that like I'm doing personally. And I want our shoulders are all fucked up because nobody did pullovers.
That's an interesting thing you said with the pullover because I've been doing them off camera. And
okay, there you go.
Because
you need to do them on camera. Preach.
My shoulder mobility is fucked. I can't overhead press anymore. I can't do pull-ups. I used to be able to crank out, sets of 20 on my pull-ups. I don't even do them because anything overhead hurts. But I started thinking about that recently. Like, I wonder if pullovers would help. So I've been doing them with just a 25-pound plate while laying down and straight. And I've been doing them off camera, and I eventually may start working them into my vlogs. But I've started doing those, and I've noticed it's helping my shoulder mobility again.
Yes.
So it's
I'm
interesting
so glad
that you mentioned that because it was just something I was thinking about a while back, and I've been doing them. I'm not doing a lot of them. It's just a set here and there. But I'm like, okay, that actually felt
getting that deep breath.
Yeah.
But doing them with a 25, I mean, and just like 10 reps. And yeah, I mean, so I noticed a difference on it. So it's kind of almost, how do I describe it? It's maybe not a coincidence, just the way energy works in the universe, man, that you just brought that up in my thing because I haven't mentioned
really big in the super squats, wasn't it? You do a 20 rep set of squats and then you go straight into the pullovers. And they said it'd expand your rib cage, which isn't true. But
which we know isn't true. But
actually, so a lot of us think we have asthma. You don't have asthma. Your fucking muscles are literally strangling you.
Compressing.
And yeah, I mean, it's easier when you have an inhaler because you're getting more oxygen in your body, but you actually can't take a deep fucking breath. And I've learned this over the last 3 years because I used to take hitching deep breaths. Like I would take because I had to like get my muscles into a certain position to actually even get the little more. But I have over time, like, been able to expand my rib cage more and more because there is it's not the shit that this is the last bit of what looks like fat on my body.
Right.
And it's not fat. It's muscle that's stuck in the wrong position. It's all stuck in my armpits. We're not fat. It's just our muscles are stuck out of position. And so it's this like ongoing battle that I've had for the last couple of years. And it sucks because in getting all this like shit out, it looks terrible. It's like when you move out of your house and you know that your house is like 85% done, but it looks like a bomb went off in your house and you're never going to be fucking done. That's the stage of my body that I'm in right now. Oh, is that where you are?
Yeah.
You're moving in or out?
Process. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but that's good because I'm trying to work on things like that. And I'm glad you brought some of that up because that's stuff I'm trying to work on, trying to get my hip mobility back again because I took a little time off from squatting but I'm just trying to get all of that range of motion and mobility back on some things. So the pullovers. Yeah.
So I've started, and I haven't done them on camera because I have a lot of trouble. Like I just gained any balance at all. Like I could never stand on one foot before, but now I can run on the curb.
I medically have no sense of balance. Mine is gone.
You actually are just too fucking tight. You're too fucking tight.
No. Like I have nothing but scar tissue for my vestibular labyrinths on an MRI in my ear. So I actually don't have a sense of balance.
Well, you'd be able to grab the ground with your feet if you had flexibility. And I know you've always heard people say grab the ground with your feet when squatting, but your feet are just blocks of wood, and that does not register to you because you're so fucking tight. You don't even realize how tight you are. But like you're so physically tight, you actually can't physically relax, which I know you would dispute, but I can tell you from being you.
Notice I just nodded and said right.
Yeah, from being you, like I know, and like so it's if you do little stuff like walking on the curb, you look like an asshole, but it's easier when you're high as shit like me. But if you do, I don't give a fuck. But so I run on the curb and I run on the curb while texting because like I love to walk and type or like walk and read. But like I've gotten good at walking and typing, and now I can run on the curb and text, which is an insane amount of flexibility for a person who can front squat 405 with no warm up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, and now I dive bomb front squat. Like I can actually go into the hole and sit there. And so the reason why I was saying that is an exercise I do off camera now is the original squat. Okay. On my toes with my heels together, with my knees pointed way out.
Oh,
wow. Or I do, like when I'm doing front squats or back squats now, I high bar as much as I can so that I get my body as upright as I can, stick my knees way out and sink as deep into it as I possibly can. And you'll be able to feel your rib cage actually expand when you're taking deep breaths at the bottom because you're stretching all your TVA and everything out. Okay. And so you get more abs. Like it's fucking dope, dude. But at times you hear all this weird crunching and shit as you're like dropping into place. But it over time, it's like an addictive thing, getting into the hole and like getting more flexibility and like you'll see more muscular definition in weird spots you never expected, like your serratus or whatever. It's lit. And I never, ever, I mean, you read my old shit. I never, ever talked about stretching back in the day.
No,
now didn't. But it's part of it. So.
But isn't that kind of what we were talking about right before we started? Evolving as people, evolving in our philosophies, evolving in our life ideologies, evolving in the way we view politics, society, everything. We have to evolve as people.
Yeah, we can't be dogmatic forever.
We can't be dogmatic. I mean, I look back at times in my life, everything from politically to training where I go, wow, I was dogmatic to the point of fucking stupidity.
Yeah.
Because that's what dogmatism does. It makes us stupid. It cuts off critical thinking.
It makes you ignore the evidence you see in front of you.
Yeah.
It just makes you ignorant.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Yeah. So evolution as a person. Let's talk about evolution as people, because it wasn't going to be what we were going to talk about, but I'm like, that's beautiful. Given just who we are in our own histories, that's a great topic.
Yeah. And I think that it's important that we preface this with you and I have both. I don't know if you want to go into any of the details of your past, but I know in the past I was. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what people know. So because I don't have my finger on the pulse of society anymore when it comes to lifters. I just gave up on lifters. The only lifting I watch now is Ninja Warrior. But I got caught up in like being so extreme that I said a lot of horrible shit that I was just like firing over the bow, just trying to like offend the shit out of people. And I think a lot of it was because I had been so rejected over the course of my life for being weird that like I was just like, fuck everybody. I'm just going to throw a grenade into the room and see who's left standing after I say something, you know?
Right. They made the cut.
Yeah, exactly. And I was a real asshole for no reason. And I wish I fucking hadn't been, but here we are. But the thing is,
that was the thing. I always found you entertaining, at least. I'm like, even if there were times I'm like, Jamie is so extreme and he's fucking crazy, but he's funny and he's smart.
Yeah.
And that has to count for something in this life.
I really appreciate that we all grew together too, because and it seems like we all there were a lot of us around the same age that I think we had gone to such extremes for so long. We all fell apart at the same time because our brains broke. We were just so burned out. Like 2018 or 2015 to 2018, I was a fucking mess.
I was too. That's
drunk the entire time.
The dumpster fire I created.
Oh God.
I was drinking heavy too. I was drunk a lot during that time. Those same years. I pretty much had a mental breakdown on camera.
Did you? Oh God. I'm glad that. I'm glad that I didn't.
Had to quit drinking.
I'm glad that I didn't film most of my.
Once it's done on camera, man, that's it. It's there forever.
Well, I remember talking to Jamie. We'd talk back and forth, obviously, online, and then I think it's when you sent me the image for the poster I've got now. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about that, and then I think partway through, you were just like, "Yeah, everyone's being dickheads to me. Everyone's being knobs to me, and I can't be dealing with that anymore." And at first, I was like, "Is this the same guy from like the Chaos and Pain stuff?" Like,
right.
Guy. Well, sweet. Fuck man.
Yeah.
Everyone's being a dickhead.
No one would expect that, from your vlogs. No one's thinking that Jamie is a sensitive, vulnerable human being.
You do. You just online, like I know myself, you create like a character, don't you? You become like a fictional.
Yeah, we all do, but we all do, don't we?
Then you kind of have to take a step back.
That mask we wear.
Yeah.
You know, and people then say, "Hey, that's who you are."
Yeah.
You know?
That's it.
I was living that life though. Like the way I wrote was really the way I lived. I lived just that fucking hard. Like even just going back to how we were trying to go to the extremes at all times, like because MMA wasn't big at the time, but like Fight Club was huge in the early 2000s.
Right. Oh
and there was
God.
a website called fightclub.co.uk.
I saw it in the theater, the original,
Yeah.
original movie. I saw it in the theater with my bros. You know.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I love that fucking movie. Obviously,
It's a
because I'm
great
talking
movie.
about this website. But this website was all about people talking about being in fight clubs, but none of them were actually in fight clubs. You know, they were just. It was exactly like people talking about lifting online now. Like, oh well, I do this now, I do Latin, but everybody's talking shit on each other. Nobody's actually doing anything, and
Right.
it was like that. And so this guy kept talking about how he fought in this bare knuckle thing, and I was like, bro, you don't, because I know, because I fight with my friends in the park, and I was in a JKD club, and I was going to Rincon High School and fighting with UFC fighters. So I was like, I know you don't fight bare knuckles because I've never met a person who will fight bare knuckles. Like we all fight with open hands in the street because we're not trying to hurt ourselves. Like that's not how it happens. So I was going home for college anyway, but at the time Camden was a nightmare, and I was super white bread, like rich kid. So like, but I still drove to an abandoned industrial warehouse park in Camden and fought this kid in a fucking abandoned park. Like I threw down a cardboard on the ground and I was like, let's do gloves at first. If you want to take the gloves off after that, we'll do that. But looking back on it, I'm like, everybody down there was getting fucking shot. And I went there to go fight another white kid in a fucking, like we were in Fight Club. Like I was, and I look back on that and I'm like, how am I alive now? How am I alive? But like, yeah, we did everything way too fucking much and way too hard. And so I understand how you got caught up in your thing because the military was fucking horrible. I dipped my toe in it because I'll admit this to you because you know what? I will share in your pain. I will bear myself. I have a general discharge from the U.S. Army because I went in under 18 X-ray, which was a Special Forces fast track. And so I was just going to breeze through it. And I got in there, and there were two guys in my platoon who kept pissing their pants. And they gave them guns. And I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? These people have IQs that are barely registering, and they're peeing their pants, and they have guns. And no, I couldn't get comfortable to shoot when I knew they were near me with guns. Yeah. And then I taught a guy an ankle bar, which I, in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, rolled into rather than through accidentally. And I broke my ankle, and then I sat on my bunk until they let me the fuck out of there because I was not going to get shot in the back by a man with his pants full of pee. I wasn't going to do it.
What a way to.
And I had the highest recorded D-Lab score they ever had in Arizona. Like I have the greatest language aptitude they'd ever registered in that state. And I said, no fucking thank you. I'm not doing this. Somebody else can get shot. I appreciate everybody who's doing that, but that was not for me. So yeah, there you go. Broke my ankle and left.
Probably better off for it.
Oh, yes. I have all my limbs. After that, one of the guys who was in my, this was afterwards that I had the Fight Club thing in the park. And one of our drinking friends was a guy that I met in the bar that like I was winning a trivia game while drunk and I wasn't on a team. I was just yelling out the answers and pissing everyone off. And so a guy started playing military trivia with me at the bar and we became friends, and he was crippled from being shot in the ass while storming a bunker by the guy standing behind him. And every time we drank, he was like, to you for still having both your legs. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. Thank you, veteran. Yes, he co-signed my exit. Yeah, so don't worry about it, man. We needed to prove that we were both super, because I'm sure you grew up like I did. Like I grew up reading books in my closet, and kept moving constantly. So I had to be the best at everything. So people liked me. Otherwise, they thought the new kid sucked at everything. And so I had to keep getting good at things, thinking that if I was good at everything, people had to like me, because then I could always find something that they would like. Was that how you were?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we moved a few times growing up too, and I started high school and finished high school pretty much in two separate schools. So my first semester of high school was in Texas, did 3 years in New Mexico, then came back and graduated in a different part of Texas.
Yeah, and Texas gives you a fucked up upbringing. I lived in Texas as a small child, so I remember growing up singing that song. This land is my land. This land ain't your land. I've got a shotgun and you don't got one. If you don't get off, I'll blow your head off. This land was made for me, not you. That's what we sang as children on the playground in Texas. Jesus. So you got to grow up out of that. And we did. Just like Arnold stopped apartheid for a weekend, like 10 years out of being raised in a fucking Nazi household. Like, he grew. And so everybody grows. And so you have to forgive people for the past.
We're old enough to remember that, though. Like, I don't think this current generation, when like topics of racism come up, they're like, no, you guys didn't see the real deal like we did. What we grew up and saw, we're just old enough to remember what real racism looked like, and it was, we had to grow out of that.
I don't know. I think we had to grow out of the racism that we grew up being comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like, we were still able, like, we militarily won the Civil War. But when Lincoln got assassinated and Johnson took power, he just disassembled the Reconstruction. So the South didn't learn anything, and then they were able to overtake the education system and teach this Southern skewed version of American history that is incorrect. And then they injected a bunch of guns into it, even though the whole reason why Tombstone happened as a movie was because guns weren't allowed in the fucking Old West. That's the premise of the fucking movie, and they missed that somehow.
I mean, but when you mention that, I think back, like, that was a different world, and we had to evolve out of that, and as again, evolving as human beings, it's like.
And you know what? If people don't believe us, go on Tubi and watch Smokey and the Bandit. Watch Smokey and the Bandit, the first one. They don't drive anywhere without drinking. They literally are like, wait, where are we going? Go grab a bottle. Fuck, no, grab a bottle. Shit. And they're doing shots like on the way out the door, just in case they don't get drunker in the parking lot. Like they got drunk on the way to the parking to the car. Like, it's crazy. The one guy's up for 5 days. How the fuck is he up for 5 days? And that's before he starts the race. Drunk.
Right.
And that was when I was 4, when you were 4. Mm-hmm. Those were our parents.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the same thing, even if you watch that movie.
And I'm not saying that's better. I'm just saying we grew up wild, like feral children.
Absolutely. Well, those were the movies we grew up on as kids, and our parents didn't have the best parenting skills.
Their brains were filled with lead. And then they were on meth for like 30 years. Yeah. So meth and lead poisoning. I mean, let's cut them a break. I've been trying to be more forgiving of the, they're fucked up. They're fucked up and they're crazy as shit. And it's just, their brains are Swiss cheese from 40 years of lead.
Oh, man. I mean, one of my best bros, he and I, we actually jammed together. I'm not going to get into his stuff with his stand-up. He complains about this with his parents still to this day. He's just like, he's like, my parents. He's like, I really kind of got raised by my grandparents. I'm like, dude, me too. It's like, because our parents just were not capable, But our whole generation was like that. It really was. I mean, when you now that I'm remembering it, no, you're right.
Yeah, but we're in that dope cusp of millennials. So we're the chilled out Gen Xers who started to realize, oh, you guys are fucking dickheads. And like, basically anybody I knew in high school who idolized like or who listened to Pink Floyd and all that shit, they're fucking shitheads now. But everybody who was listening to grunge and stuff like that seems to be all right, at least at the moment.
I did metal and grunge, and then I stepped
and
away.
hardcore,
I'm all blues.
Yeah.
I don't even listen to metal anymore. It's like I'm like, I like blues. I like a little bit of hard rock, but I do mostly blues, and you've been messing with a little jazz off and on, and I just stay chill in my music. I mean, I've been playing some AC/DC lately. That's one of my
Dude,
favorites.
what do you mean chill? So blues is the root of metal. It's where the
Absolutely.
Satanism, the Satan in metal comes from. Is like James Johnson or whatever his name is, the guy who invented blues guitar and like down at the crossroads. Like that whole Satan gimmick comes from blues. That is that's the metal of that era. Like when I look to impose myself or interpose myself into an old time, I like try to find the music that was the metal of that era. And so now you're talking shit on my shit right now.
No, but there's definitely truth to that. And the scales are the same. So all those pentatonic scales and blues scales ended up evolving into metal anyways, didn't they?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And the pentatonic scales are what they use. Those go all the way back to ancient Greece. They discovered those same scales. Pythagoras wrote about them. The Chinese discovered them independently also in their own. And it's just kind of the natural. It's kind of the natural melody to our species. But I do a lot of pentatonic stuff, and all the other guitarists I know do, because they're kind of like the natural notes for the human species, and they're the foundation of all of that type of music. They went and observed this weird side thing I was reading.
That's cool. No, keep going.
Oh,
this is awesome.
They found that the pentatonic scale is actually how mothers communicate with newborn babies when they coo back and forth. It's in the pentatonic scale.
No shit. I sing to my cats constantly. So I mean, when I say constantly, I mean I live a musical. My house is a literal musical. I sing about my wife. Like it's. Oh yeah, no, I have a whole language I talk to my cats in. A voice.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah.
So so that's awesome. And I don't know if you know this, but music is so integral to speech that it certainly predates speech, because you actually remember every single song you've ever heard in your entire life. It is in your brain, and you can be retaught how to speak language. If the language center in your brain is completely destroyed, you can relearn language by listening to music that you love. It's crazy, but I watched a couple of documentaries on it. Like music is foundational to our lives. And people who think that you should not train with music, like Joe Gold and Vince Guarana, that was the produce of taking a lot of speed. And they were like World War II vets.
I quit training. I quit training with music for a while, but I started again. And now it's like
you need to.
I actually listen to ZZ Top as my actual lifting band. But I listen to the
blues band
stuff. Yeah, I mean, so I listen to stuff like, Brown Sugar, My Head's in Mississippi, and that's what I deadlift to.
Okay.
Sweet.
Well, hey.
Yeah, nice. Sweet.
All right, you're an old man.
Right? Officially.
Old man. You're really old. Really. Lewis, what do you listen to? Do you listen to any music that was made in the last 50 years?
Yeah, I just listen to a lot of metal. Probably similar shit to you, to be honest, mate. But,
what are you listening to right now?
Probably a lot of Heaven Shall Burn, Trivium, Man of War still, which is obviously not new.
Those are all old ass bands, dude. Do you listen to anything new?
Trivium, man. Oh, they're not old.
Trivium's 30 or 20 years old at least. I saw Trivium at fucking. I saw Trivium in 2008, I think.
Probably not.
Against my will.
The guys are very old. I mean, Wayne's dead, so that's how old they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So no new. You were I listen to new shit. And you're 31, dude.
Yeah.
And you listen to old shit, so you're as old as him on the inside.
I'm as old as right.
Yeah,
what do you listen to?
I say the last band I saw live was Slipknot.
That's the newest band you're listening to? Oh my God, man!
For me that I saw live. The last band I saw live was Slipknot, but Lamb of God was opening for them. They were. Yeah. So that's been a little.
You guys need to go outside. You need to go outside for real. Like, go live your lives. My God.
What do you listen to? Come on, Jamie.
I would say probably if I was going to say a hardcore band that I like, according to Spotify, the two things that I listen to the most are a band called City Morgue. They're trap metal. So they actually have dope ass videos on how to mosh before their shows because they're basically a rap group. So it's kind of like it's kind of rapcore, but it's not like you guys would be thinking Limp Bizkit. This is two dudes who like take a bunch of videos of themselves holding like gold AKs and shit and like doing wheelies on fucking motorcycles, screaming lyrics as they rap them. And their fucking mosh pits are dope. All their lyrics are hard as shit. The beats are awesome. And their shows are totally integrated, but you guys would love the aesthetic because it's literally Hot Topic 2000. It looks like all the cutest. Looks like all the cutest people you ever saw from the ages of like 16 to 30, decked out in the year 2000 Hot Topic, having the best time of their lives. Their shows are so much fun. Dude, the mosh pits are really friendly. So I used to hardcore pit because we were psychopaths, but like we were actually hitting each other. So we were doing kung fu just to learn how to spin kick right so we didn't break our fucking knee. And it was insane. We were insane. But like these are really fun. So it's just like push pitting. Everybody's just kind of pogo pitting. And then they do a wall of death. And the one I was at, it was so sweaty in there that the floor was slick. You guys have been to those shows? Mm-hmm. So when we rammed into each other at the center, like everybody just hugged so we didn't fall down. And then we jumped up and down together. It's the most enjoyable thing in the world. But the lyrics are literally so hard. So it's all about like dealing crack and like shooting people. But it's all like cute people who are never going to hurt anybody yelling it. So it's fun. Yeah.
Sweet. And then there's the other one. You said there's two.
Oh, there's a hardcore band called Two Piece. It's from Florida, and it's just beat down. It's so brutal, and it also has that kind of a rappy cadence. Although all of it's like it's just hardcore. So yeah, that shit's hard.
That's been the problem for me getting into modern metal. Everyone's got their own genre now. It's like I can't even keep up with all of these subgenres of metal.
Oh, the genres are gone now. Like I call it trap.
Okay, good.
No, they're gone. Like, so there's a woman named Poppy that you might like, Jason, who is married to another trap metal guy who does performances that look like Marilyn Manson. His name is Ghost Main. He's fucking dope. I'm going to go see him with City Morgue next month. But, Poppy she looks like a black metal, but she sings. It goes from like baby metal to pop to Queen to super ultra heavy breakdowns all in the same song. And then all of her lyrics are super dark. So, and she's in like PVC shit, but she looks like a model. It's awesome.
Oh, well, that's definitely my style there.
Yeah, it covers literally every genre you could imagine. And it has kind of a rocky horror aesthetic.
All right, cool. I've always had a thing for the goth chicks.
I used to go to goth clubs all the time. I love goth chicks and cyber goths. Oh my god! Cyber goths.
Beyond goths. Yeah.
All right. So, I guess back to progressing as a person. So, what did you do? Did you do it during COVID? Were you just kind of looking at yourself and being like, I've gotten mean and fucking weird and I need to do something so I don't end up like a psychopath?
It was already before that. I was already but I had already kind of reoriented my life a lot and, started coaching, putting more focus on coaching and less on just internet outreach stuff already. And I was focused on growing my coaching business instead of trying to draw attention to my channel and all of that stuff. And it just kind of chilled quite a bit with a lot of that. Of course, I got a little sidetracked with, relationship stuff, and I'm not going to go into any of that, but that's something to tell you off camera you may or may not be aware of.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I'll don't want to discuss the public channel.
I had my own very public relationship nightmare during that time. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, but, I still continue to evolve through that, and for me, it was kind of that of looking at who am I as a person and what am I doing and am I comfortable with it?
Constant thing.
It comes down to that. What sort of person do you want to be? What sort of human being do you want to be? And also looking at things of going, what sort of legacy am I going to leave behind? Is this world going to have been a better place for me having been in it?
There it is. I think that's the ultimate. Like, do you want people to be glad that you were here,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
glad that you are gone?
Exactly. And looking at the world of saying, because to me, that's when we just come down to what is moral and what is good. I think that's kind of what we need to look at. What world do we leave behind after we're gone? Was the world a better place for us having been born and been in it, or a worse place for it?
Yeah, totally.
And
Just as a whole.
happier place. And a happier place that's
Yeah.
what I've really, and that's kind of what the weed has helped me a lot with, is I realized that, like, so I was in a spot where I was really tight, and I was just like kind of all the time. I was just saying, hey, and I didn't want to be like that. But I was like, so I was smiling, and I'm like, hi, how are you? And I realized that just looks crazy. I just look like a crazy person. So I needed to relax. And like, my cats now love me. They're always draped on top of me. But a cat won't come near you if you have the wrong energy, when you're really tense. And so in like coming to love on the cats and I had to get my fingers more flexible so that I could like touch the cats better and more nicely. And then like, I realized that I just like, no, I started dressing differently. I mean, I'm wearing black now, but I wear a lot of colors. Like, I'm wearing floral shorts, but like, I wanted people to not cross the street I used to think it was funny. People cross the street when they saw me coming. I thought it was hilarious. Like, I could get a group of 20 people to cross the street, and I'm 5'5" and weigh 200 pounds. And these people will, are we all dwarves?
I'm actually about that.
Yeah, me and you are, Jamie, for sure.
Oh. But I thought it was funny, and then I was like, this sucks. Like, I don't want people scared of me. And so then and when I would try to talk to people, then people were scared of me because I looked like a fucking psychopath. So I really made a conscious effort to like, and I had a woman once come up to it in an airport and ask me to pull in my aura. And I was like, lady, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then I had another woman do it to me, and I was like, I still don't know what you're talking about, but you're 2 now, so I'm going to see what I can do. And I gave up on it after a while, but I made a conscious effort to like pull it and just make myself smaller. I didn't need to fill every room I was in. I didn't need to kick open the door. I needed to be more like a cat.
Just have a nicer vibe.
Yeah, people sense that anger. That's what it comes down to. Are you angry, or are you just chilling happy?
Like you said, you were in that era. It was chaos and pain for you, wasn't it? That was, you personified that. So it's
you personified that which you.
That really was me. I was just I was a maelstrom. I still am a mess. Like, not a mess, but like a little all over the place. But I'm not. I make people's lives better for being in them rather than worse. I'm not. I'm
definitely more chill than what I would think of when I read your vlogs back in the day, or your blogs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll compliment random people on the street just because I know that, especially when I'm looking extra fly, like I'll compliment people on the street just because if a person tells you look good, it's nice. But if a person who looks really good tells you look good, then you're like, oh yeah, I look fucking good.
Right, there you go.
So I'm just trying to kind of spread that vibe and get people to kind of
Yeah, I do a lot of that too. I'm easily approachable, though. People approach me all the time. But it's usually lifting advice, or women will comment. But pretty much every time I go to the store, it's someone says something. So,
I just get random people that sit down on the train next to me on the train and just start talking to me. It's fucking dope. And I know that sounds crazy, but like, it's nice for everybody else on the train because the crazy people just sit by me because I seem so nice. And also because they all know I'm not going to let the crazy people do anything, because I've always been this kind of nice guy. Like, I ride the train everywhere because it's literally right next to my house, and it's a light rail, so I can take it right to I take it to, I walk 1.5 miles to the gym because otherwise I won't do my cardio. And so in that little train ride, or going up to work back in the day, like, I got to know a lot of the people on the train. And whenever there was somebody who would start, you see those videos of people acting crazy on the train. If somebody's just really polite to them and is like, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but are you okay? Can I help you? And like, I'm sorry. But if you just do that, and instead of acting aggressive to them at all, but especially when you look like one of us, it diffuses the situation so much.
Yeah.
And so changing your vibe, because you already look scary because you lift weights.
Yeah,
And nobody
exactly.
needs to know that you're any scarier than you already look, because you already look like
Exactly.
a wild animal escaped from the zoo. So,
Exactly.
yeah, we all need to bring it down, and that's
You
kind
bring
of
it down
going
and
back
just
to
be
the
chill
growth
and
thing.
Yeah,
be
and I
calm.
think people who do lift weights should be more like that. There's no point trying to be
Well,
macho and
yeah.
thinking you're the fucking dog's
Yeah,
bollocks.
because it's just gonna
Trying to
scare
intimidate
people.
people.
Because I mean, even
No.
in my case, I'm all chill when people approach me, but I mean, it's always comments like dudes will stop and say, "Dude, you're fucking huge," or because I
Yeah.
mean, I'm 225 right now, with abs, so I'm not exactly a small guy. So, but yeah, so people
Lewis, you
will-
grew up with a different mentality, though, a little bit. In Britain,
Yeah.
the kind of there's
It's a little more
not
chill.
so much of the macho bullshit, right?
yeah, I spent 3 years there.
There is. There's not. We're not all like polite with our cups of tea and that, but we are very. People say sorry a lot. If someone bumps into you in the street, you say sorry. It's weird, but there is, especially in my generation, there are a lot of macho dickheads who have
Yeah.
seen too much UFC, or they've watched Never Back Down a few times, and they do think there's a brand called Tap Out. I don't know if you guys had it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you guarantee anyone wearing one of them thought they were like 10 men, but they were all soft as shit.
Right.
That's the mentality young lads had. And nowadays I see them when they're growing up. And it's like you said, if you're a big dude, but you're polite, it diffuses the situation 10 times easier
Way
than being
faster.
an asshole.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, he's chill, so I'm going to be chill. Plus, I don't want to piss him off,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
no,
shit. Yeah, if he's gonna be nice, then I don't want to see him mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But we know, obviously, in ourselves that like being big doesn't mean you're a good fighter. So you can
Of course
kind of
not.
use it, but
Yeah,
it might be right.
Yeah, you might have a glass jaw.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
One thing I will say though is that all things equal, being muscular, that's the thing that everybody always forgets is like, yeah, it doesn't mean that you can fight, but if you get two random shitheads in a bar and one of them's jacked and the other one's not, the one who's throwing giant haymakers and is jacked is going to do more damage.
Of course.
Oh, totally.
But it's probably even money.
Yeah. But
He
if
might
they
have
are
better
trained
cardio.
fighters, if they are trained fighters, you don't want the guy who squats 600 pounds kicking you. If they both are trained
to an
fighters,
extent,
you still don't want that guy kicking you.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
John Jones, you don't want John Jones to kick you.
As much as I hate Joe Rogan, he's one guy, and there are very few people that I'm like, I'd probably give him hell. No, the only time I've ever been knocked out in a fight was with low kicks. I am not trying to fight Joe Rogan. He'd break your fucking leg.
Probably so.
Snapping.
Yeah, Joe, I'm not a huge Joe Rogan fan either. It's like,
No, same.
He wouldn't just break your leg. Your leg would explode like
That's what I
blood
mean.
bag.
Snap.
Yeah.
but yeah,
It would-
the guy
Fuck.
can fight. The guy can fight.
Jesus. His kicks are disgusting. It doesn't matter if he can fight or not. It doesn't matter if he can take a kick or a punch or not. If he lands one kick, you die. You just cease to be.
Just disintegrate and poof.
I've never seen anybody kick a bag that hard. Maybe Michael Jai White. But Michael Jai White's not a psychopath. So Michael Jai White would only kick you as hard as you needed to be kicked. Because he wants to teach you a lesson, not kill you. Like a rational person who is not terrified of everything around them.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though, isn't it? That's a lot of what that is. Those are people who are
all of what it is.
Yeah.
I really could not admit that I was anxious until I started doing a lot of stretching and a lot of introspection and a lot of talking with my wife. Like I was really, really anxious. I was anxious in all situations, around all people, at all times. And I was just an anxious fucking mess. And that's why I seemed so fucking angry. But I wasn't really angry. I was just anxious and scared, really.
Yeah. But that's also our generation too. Like you were saying earlier, we were taught that we had to always present that strong, masculine, hyper-masculine face everywhere we went. We were taught that and raised that way. But there comes a point where you realize a lot of it's just bullshit.
Yeah, I could never figure people out, and that's why I was so frightened. Like I couldn't tell if we were friends or if we weren't. I came to realize that I've been calling it us's and them's, but my wife has finally said, just say you're autistic, and then you don't have to call them us's and them's. But I'm still in the us's and them's. I don't like that terminology because I think we are people who have interests and they are people who have friends and no interests. And so they don't know anything and they never absorb anything. They're basically hollow shells of human beings. And that's why I could never understand them because they make friends and then they develop interests by consensus that don't make any sense to me. Like they don't have any genuine interests. It's just they're told what.
Toxic.
Yeah. And I don't even understand how they make the decision as a group on how that happens. And I think that's what scares me because I don't understand what any of it is. And I'm just like, well, sports betting is involved somehow. And so I'm just, no, I'll never understand it. Please get it away from me.
Yeah,
and oh my God, the sports betting's out of control.
I don't follow team sports at all.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a strength coach and I'm into lifting and performance, I don't follow any team sports at all. None, zero. I just have no
You
interest.
guys watch Ninja Warrior? Because you should.
Check that out, maybe.
Yeah.
I should check out Ninja Warrior.
And Nagano is shit. He was the man.
Who was?
Nagano. He's old. The old champion.
Oh my God, dude! The fisherman.
Yeah.
Jesus, you are living in the past, sir.
Hey,
that was
beat perfection. He was top.
There are 15-year-olds now smoking everyone because holy shit, dude, if you or I had been raised in a fucking Ninja Warrior gym as a child, we would be so big, I wouldn't fit in this room. Dude, these kids are monsters. And all of that negative energy we had as kids because we didn't know what to do with it could have been, we wanted to be monkeys as children. We didn't have the ability. These kids have the ability to be literal monkeys and they are beasts. They have no fear of death. They are capable of literally anything. And they're all smart as hell and super good looking and super nice. You got to watch Ninja Warrior. I can't believe you don't. They will make you realize how crippled you are, Jake.
Okay. I will check this out.
What you said, the negative energy and that, and that's what lifting was for us, wasn't it? It's an outlet.
It was for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I've said that before. People say, what got you into lifting? I'm a child abuse survivor. And for me, that was and I was sexually abused as a child. And so in my case, the barbell was my outlet originally.
Yeah, gotcha.
It was my outlet. And it was also my way of saying, hey, I'm going to get strong so that I will never feel helpless again.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of why I got under the barbell.
I was just slightly angry. It's slightly different, obviously, but it was just an expression and an outlet. But obviously you had a deeper reason.
Yeah, but I know that I've actualized that about myself of saying that is why I got under the bar. It was a way for me to get that anger out constructively, and it was a way for me to also build myself up in a way where I didn't feel like a helpless child. The problem is for years that still didn't go away though, even though I was an adult and, deadlifting over 500 pounds, I still felt like a helpless child for a long time.
Yeah,
right.
But it did help as part of the process.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Some other therapy and stuff in there too helped.
Therapy is really what you need there. I mean, you can lift all the weights in the world that you want, but you're still going to end up a psychopath at the end. I mean, look at Westside Barbell.
But,
I love Louis Simmons and I love his message. You're right. There's a lot of craziness that came out of that place.
When I was at North Georgia Barbell training with those guys, they told me some fucking stories about for a second. Whew, we got away from the posse thing. Let me.
There we go. Well, that's
kind of. It is a positive thing in a way.
I can tell you stories on some of that, but I'm not going to.
What's your cat's name, Lewis?
That one is Steve French.
Steve French, nice.
Yeah.
Everybody but me has very normal names for my cats. My cats' names are Benta, Werfen, and Foof.
No. We've got Fred First, Gary Laser Eyes, Steve French, and Vince the Pince. So.
All right, well, those are all.
Is Gary Laser Eyes? Is he a gray cat with blue eyes?
No, they're all black cats.
Oh,
Gary's just got the biggest eyes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. That's fun. All black cats. I have a one-eyed black cat.
Yeah. I know. I'm up to date on your cats.
Oh, okay. All right. Shit. Damn. All right. Yeah. The reason why we call her Benta is because of Venta Black. I don't know if you've ever heard of Venta Black. It's the blackest black. It actually absorbs light. Oh yeah. It's made with nanotubules or something like that. So it sucks up light. like a black hole. And but cats can't say B's, obviously, because they don't have muscular lips. Or they can't say V's because they don't have muscular lips. So it's benta.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Excellent.
All right, so now back to the thing. What were we talking about? So we can cut back.
We were talking about evolving as human beings. We'll have to save actual lifting
people.
stuff for a whole nother one, you know.
I
Okay.
guess role models in a sense now, just being positive role models.
That's what it is. You know, it's even for me, like I don't even care about politics or anything anymore. It's like I want to help people get strong. I want to make music and be happy and try to leave the world a better place. That's
here, and here. Like we're trying to get them strong in all spots, not just. It can't just be in 3 modalities. It can't just be in 3 planes.
Can't be. Well, we talk about again actualizing our potential as human beings, and you know, again, just evolving as people, growing as people, and that's really what it comes down to. But that also comes back to another thing of leaving the world a better place, because to me that's the defining characteristic of a good person. You know, is the world better for you having been in it? When you tally it all up at the end of the day, the net positives and the net negatives, because we're all going to do stupid shit. We're all going to do things that are harmful, you know, at different points in our path. But it's like, can we balance the scales back out? You know?
Yeah. When you stood in front of the devourer, is your heart heavy or not? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Is it going to get eaten, or are you going to the afterlife? That's it. Yeah. How many karma points have we got? But no, it's just like you said, making everything better for people. Obviously, I know me and you coach Jason, and I know you do a bit, Jamie, now with the Plague of Strength.
I don't really sell a lot of coaching. I probably should.
Yeah,
but it's just instilling, like you said, not just making people strong, making people better.
And making people better. But even then, what are we doing as coaches for the most part? We're not just handing people a spreadsheet, you know. I mean, we're looking at their fatigue management. There are times when I've got to take my lifters and set aside and have a talk with them about what's going on in their life. Because, you know, I can't make them strong and manage fatigue and program everything unless I know where their head's at. You know, and there are times when you got to sit down with your lifters and discuss their relationships, their marriages, their breakups, you know, trauma they've gone through. You know, it's interesting that when you're really coaching people and you're serious about it, you end up doing a lot of that, you know, and your clients want to load some heavy stuff on you sometimes, and sometimes they need to vent, sometimes they need some advice. And now you go from, can I get your deadlift strong, to can I help get you in a right place in your life overall to be strong?
Yeah, I totally get that. I totally see that.
So
people will unload on you. You take on kind of like a counselor role, even though that is your job.
It's not really your job, but it
is your job.
It is your job in a way.
Yeah.
You wear different hats for those
paper,
different
it's not my job, but as
you
a
know?
person, obviously it is. Because you
Being
do that trust.
Being a coach is just being a personal trainer. It's just a new way to call a personal trainer. Being a personal trainer is nothing but being an adult babysitter. We try to fucking dress it up as much as we can, but it is genuinely nothing. And I'm not bagging on it at all. That's one of the reasons why I don't do it, because it takes so much emotional investment. Because I become their best friend, and I like it, but it's just like, it's exhausting because I have so much contact with them. I'm doing constant feedback and you know, and I like that, but like it's exhausting. But that's what it is. It's you are helping that person achieve their goals, and that it doesn't necessarily have to do with what is happening when you get to the weight room.
It always is. There's a lot of other stuff going on, you know. But I mean, I'm not doing as many Gen Pop people. I do a lot of pretty strong people. Some of them don't even compete, but I mean, I've got guys who squat triple their body weight and they've never stepped on a powerlifting platform.
I've always maintained the strongest people. I've always maintained the strongest people don't compete because they don't need the validation.
The biggest lifts are in the gym. I remember you saying.
I mean, like you guys will see, I put Justin Slislip every now and then. They're like, wait, what does that guy weigh? And he's peeled. They're like, he just squatted over 500 pounds. I'm like, oh, he's like 175 right now. You know, but he lifts like that every week. And we don't even back squat for him. We back squat about once every 5 weeks. He just does mostly box work and speed boxes, good mornings, leg presses. But, you know, he squats 5 and 5. And he's about 9% body fat.
Nice.
But, you know, so he's pulling 600. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. But I mean, I've had him about 4 years, but I mean, it's you know, hell, we never talk training when I chat with him hardly because his training is not the problem. I keep his training dialed in. When I end up chatting with him, we end up talking music or relationship stuff, and when we do chat. But I've had him a long time, and he's just strong as hell. But he has no interest in competing. Like he told me, he's like, my goal when he hired me, he's like, when I turn 40, I want to be able to squat 500 pounds and not hurt when I wake up.
Yeah,
like, okay, yeah, no. But so yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of really strong lifters. Definitely got some guys pulling over 700. But one of them was drug free. He's never used gear. But so I work with some pretty strong lifters. But the thing is, it's like you said, it really is more of what's going on in their headspace. That's most of what coaching is.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't necessarily saying. I was just saying that that is definitely a part of it. I think that I might have misconstrued what when I was personal training, I was literally dragging people through workouts, and that's what a lot of online coaching is. I only take athletes now, but they're not even strong. Like, you've read the Aragon books, right, Jason?
Yes, some of it. I'm friends with
that. So Chris Paolini is one of my clients.
The novels.
Oh yeah, so Chris Paolini is one of my clients, the author of that.
Okay.
And he has 18-inch arms now. Dude's a fucking monster. So we just try to make sure he's fucking dope, and he just wanted bigger arms and he wanted to be more fit, but he has he has a pre-existing condition that sometimes makes it difficult for a thyroid problem, that Hashimoto's. So we have to manage for that, and so I'm kind of I back him off certain things, and then we just manage his goals and things like that. He's he's dope. I've got another client who's a really high-priced trial lawyer in Delhi, who just wanted to get lean for his wedding, but now he's got 18-inch arms, and so now he's getting his suits redone, and it's fucking dope. So I've got dope clients. I had 2 guys who are Ninja Warrior guys, and all the Ninja Warrior people are getting more jacked now for Ninja Warrior. So there's one kid from Texas. His name is Vance Walker. If you look him up, dude, he's a 16-year-old. He's got 16-inch arms, and he's 150 pounds, just beast, and he's killing it. It's so much fun. But so that's the kind of thing that I've been doing, and I really enjoy training people for stuff that is more interesting than bench, squat, and deadlift. But
right. Yeah, I've got some guys.
I never did bench, squat, or deadlift myself, really. So it was I don't like teaching or having people train in ways that I don't. So you know what I mean? If I don't approve of the training, I don't coach it.
I vary it a lot depending upon my lifters. Some of my guys don't really do their classic lifts as much. We stick with more conjugate rotating max effort lifts, and then others we do focus more on squat, bench, and deadlift. I've done it in different phases myself. I've done full conjugate where I don't touch the classic lifts, but then still walk over and deadlift 600 pounds when I need to.
You just Jamie.
Yeah.
The old conjugate system, didn't you?
Yeah, for a while. I used to pick my lifts off of a random number generator. I used to literally sometimes, just for what I was going to max on that day, I had a random number generator, and I would just use it to pick a lift as I'm warming up. Be okay, if I warmed up. I don't like to warm up for deadlifts. I don't see the point in touching under 500 pounds. I did that at my last meet. I forgot to warm up because I was chatting with Charles Vogel in the back, and then they called my name, and hadn't done any warm-up pulls, so I pulled 508 for my first rep. I just went out on the platform and did my opener as my warm-up because I forgot. I got so busy chatting with someone that I forgot to warm up.
Gotcha. So what'd you hit on your second?
I think 575, and then I missed 619 because I didn't peak or anything for that. I missed it above the knee, and that was silly because I can pull more than that. It just happened. It was an off day.
Gotcha.
But I got a state record, so it didn't matter.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Put that one up. But that's the thing. It's if you're strong, you're going to have a big deadlift.
Yeah, I agree. And with training, I don't think. Well, I mean, I've proven that you don't need to do the lifts in order to be good at them. I'd never try. I didn't train deadlift at all for 10 years.
Everyone knows that, though, who's really trained a long time. It's same thing when I did that charity event. I didn't do any pull 600 plus or anything like that, and went and pulled 625 for that breast cancer charity without touching anything over 550 for 6 months and doing deficit pulls, and which is again not crazy strong, but for an old guy it's decent.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Totally.
Dude, I'm still getting better.
Yeah.
I'm still getting better. I'm an old guy fucking nothing. Dude, you're selling yourself short.
Oh, and my benching is going up actually. Now that I'm doing more and more just general hypertrophy training and just getting thicker, my benching is improving. Which is what we would expect. Muscle mass, myofibular growth is going to raise your strength ceiling.
Do you think being able to raise your arms over your head might increase your hypertrophy as well?
I think so. So look, we come back over to those pullovers. So I think those are a wise idea.
Yeah, and pull-ups. Just hang from a bar, man.
I started doing dead hangs again.
Yeah, he's done this.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
Because
it's really important. And do lat shrugs while you're doing those hangs. Wiggle around, swing around, move your head back and forth. Like, it is critical to free up your shoulders. So, because yours are, I guarantee you, your scapula are fucking locked in place. Yeah. It would take a jackhammer to get your scapula loose.
Yeah, I think dead hangs definitely. I started doing those again because I did those for a while, and that helped, and I was able to do pull-ups again, and then until everything started hurting, and I stopped doing them. But yeah, dead hangs, and I'm going to mess more with the pullovers. So again, I think that's a kind of a synchronicity that all kind of lined up. That I just started messing with that a little, and then you start talking about it. Someone who's been through all this.
Yeah, and I will personally tell you, at some point, you're just going to have to stop banging at the weights and go into the gym and stretch yourself. And like, I stretch under weight. Most of my workouts now are stretching under weight in different ways, because you have got to work these isometrics that, like, every single spot that you can't do, like, how you have to turn your arm a certain way to raise it over your head and things like that. You need to stop doing that, and you need to start straightening your arm as much as you can on everything, and forcing your arms into the positions they've never been, and the ones that hurt. Because what we've been doing our whole lives is putting ourselves in that biomechanically advantageous position, and then generating as much force as we possibly can. Is that to get it right, generate as much power as you can so that you can get through the 11 sticking points that you fucking have. Right. So you're going through the whole thing. It's psychotic what we're doing. And if you just be able to develop the entire range of motion, you won't have to develop that psychotic level of focus in order to do the push. And then when you do utilize that psychotic amount of focus, you can do stupid amounts of weight over the full range of motion, which means you're definitively stronger because you've done more work in the same time.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I think we all understand that too. That's one of the biggest issues you run into with the powerlifting, is everyone trying to shorten ranges of motion, and then we're losing all those lengthened positions, which is really where the hypertrophy happens.
Yeah, but they are trying to lift the biggest weights, aren't they? So let's move for the shortest amount of distance. But
So for me, I'm taking my hypertrophy work the other way. Let's do a lot of pause incline benching. Let's not arch on our bench for our rep work. Let's build some muscle tissue.
There you go.
And
totally.
And not neglect those single joint exercises. Just like I read that you wrote one time making fun of a bunch of powerlifters, like, well, maybe if you guys did some hamstring curls, you wouldn't tear your hamstrings deadlifting all the time.
It's weird how that works. But then Westside goes and invents a $3,000 stupid ass fucking machine that isn't a third as good as just sticking your fucking feet under the upright of something, or the crossbeam of something.
Right.
Jesus.
Oh, that other one they developed.
Every time I saw somebody with that thing, I'm like, you're a fucking poser. You're a poser with way too much money. Give me some money.
What did they call it? You're talking about that glute ham thing they made? What was it called?
The
GHR19. That one.
Yeah.
Yep. Is that the one you mean? Yeah, that was... No?
I don't know what it's called. Fuck. It's just that dumb fucking piece of shit that weighs 3,000 pounds in the gym for no reason. Same goes for that fucking swinging your little fat ass, stubby ass, fucking fat ass legs Diabetes
swing.
feet flapping around, making all the noise in the fucking world. We all know you have fucking diabetes. We see your insulin pump, you fat piece of shit. Go fucking be fat somewhere else. Go die of diabetes outside of the gym, you disgusting pile of fat shit. Every fat person who's ever been on that fucking... What is that fucking piece of shit called? Fuck that thing.
Swing. That one.
The one where you put the strap around your feet and you flap your legs around like a person would do a Roman chair, but they're too fat.
Oh,
a reverse Roman chair.
Yeah, we're talking about the reverse hyper, aren't we? I love the reverse hyper.
Yeah, where you put the big ass weights at the bottom and you make all that noise banging it against the fucking inside of the thing.
It doesn't bang. So
because you swing your legs up and then the thing comes down and the weights bang into the underside of it. The GHR thing's stupid too. What is it's called I don't know. Who cares? That thing sucks too. Oh, okay. It's the reverse. I'm thinking of it. Then there's the other thing where you kneel and it's like you're doing a GHR on the floor. It's a GHR. Yeah. So the reverse hyper and the GHR, both those machines trash.
I love the reverse hyper.
I like them.
Do you? You know why you like it? Because you're crippled. That's why you like it. And you're going to be fat and crippled if you don't stop doing that stupid bullshit. Seriously, I'm being dead serious. Like, I'm speaking as a person who was also crippled. Yeah. I can do a third world squat now. And it feels really nice. Like I sit in them to pet animals. And it's really comfortable.
But now that other thing is a trend we are seeing moving further away from powerlifting. And you were someone who I think helped that. Of let's not all be fat, let's actually have some abs. Let's be fit.
But now the strongmen are all getting fat as shit again. What happened with that?
Yeah, they are. I don't know.
I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say they're following suit, especially in the UK scene. They're all getting leaner. They're looking jacked. The under 80 kilo guys are strong as shit. And obviously, the under 80 kilos.
I'm talking about the 2023 World's Strongest Man competition. Everybody was pre-diabetic.
Oh, I've not even seen that. Like I say, I look at like the under 105s now, under 80s, under 90s, all the local stuff. Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. But yeah, all right, fair news.
Yeah, they got ripped for a little while. Like Brian Shaw looked like he actually had exercised before in his life, and like Eddie Hall looked like he wasn't going to die for a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
But now they're just right back to looking like they're going to die.
No. Which again, it's how do I say this politely about America? I guess super heavyweight powerlifting is a great sport for the average American. They can eat McDonald's.
Yeah, you don't have to move at all. You don't have to move at all, and you get to pretend that you're an athlete.
Oh, that reminds me of one of the funniest things I ever saw you write was about Jeff Lewis. Saying
oh my God! I remember
his face.
Oh, that fat fuck.
That always tickles me whenever it comes up.
That's the thing that it comes down to. Are we going to be athletes, or do we just want to move some heavy weight? If we're an athlete, we should be able to, like I said, that's why I need to address some of my mobility. Because you're exactly right. Do I want to be an athlete?
CrossFit is excelling in the moment.
CrossFit's done a good job.
CrossFit
CrossFit. They're fit. They're fit though. When you look at the CrossFit,
dude, they're strong as fucking shit.
Yeah.
Matt Frazier could outlift all three of us right now on pretty much anything.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know that I could beat Matt Frazier on anything right now. My arm's almost fixed. In 6 months, I'll be able to take him on pull-ups, and dips. But right now it's still a little fucked. But that guy's a monster. Even my front squat, I don't think I could out front squat him. Like I could do a full front squat with 405 now, like a paused front squat, like rock bottom, sitting down there, tell you a story at the bottom and stand back up. I can do 405, but I think he could probably do 415 like that. He would embarrass me in some way.
There we go. But the CrossFit games, you see those people there, those are athletes. Like you look at that and go, those are real athletes.
Yeah, and those are real lifters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just fit across the board.
Few of the games.
They're strong, they're jacked, they're mobile, they're fast, they're conditioned.
I think it was like the squat, deadlift, and press. You max in 10 minutes, back to back, and they were putting up some fucking big numbers. It was legit strong. It would.
Yeah.
And then obviously doing all the endurance stuff after. Yeah. CrossFit's
I would love
not
to
that,
see. I would love to see some
sport
top powerlifters try that CrossFit Total.
Right. Oh, I know.
Okay.
I
It would
would
be
suck
fun.
at it right now. I would suck at it.
I think it would, the only person who could do it worth a shit would be Steffi Cohen. She would trash everybody, but everybody
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
but she's
everybody
a
else would
beast.
be wheezing. Even trying to put a weight overhead. I don't think it would be possible for most of the powerlifters. So
Yeah, but she's a long
right.
history as a multidiscipline athlete anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, she did, what did she do, like volleyball or something before weightlifting and powerlifting? So she did.
No, she was a soccer player. She was on the national soccer team.
That's right.
Yeah, national soccer team, then on the national weightlifting team, and now she's a pro boxer.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
She has every powerlifting record in 2 weight classes, 123 and 132. Like,
so she's like,
that
I'm gonna
woman.
do some other sports. You know.
Well, no, she's showing that powerlifting should just be one of the things you're capable of doing. It should not be the thing you do.
Well, if we've all done some games, think of it in gaming stats. Powerlifting is your strength stat. That's it. That's all
It's not even your strength stat. It's not even. It is a tiny portion of your strength stat. Because the fact that a person is a good powerlifter is not an indication of whether or not they're strong. Because a person, and Jason, nothing against you, but I think you'll agree, a person isn't strong if they can't do 10 pull-ups.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, you've got a problem.
No, because 2 years ago, I was cranking out sets of 20.
Yeah, and we all got, but it's just, we all got into that mindset. That's why my body is so fucked up looking right now, but it will be better. but like, it's just like, we all got into that mindset of like, all right, so it was because of the extreme thing. We were like, all right, I got to get this weight from here to here. I'm going to do it as hard as I possibly can. Who gives a fuck what it looks like? I'll fix it in post. Like, that's what we were trying to do. Like, and then we never fixed it in post. We never went and we were like, all right, I'm going to stay at 405 now and work on my depth. It was just, all right, now I'm going to pile on more weight. My rep's going to get a little shorter and a little shorter and a little shorter. All right, I'll stick my ass back more. All right, I'll try more gear. All right, I'll wear these different shoes. All right, I'll wear this hat a different way. All right, I'm going to spend $3,000 on this thing. I'll spend $3,000 on that thing. Never once going, maybe I ought to just go lower. How about that? No, I'll just spend another $3,000 on a GHR.
Right.
What about if you just go lower? What about if I try these shoes? What about if you get a little bit more flexible? All right, I could spend $500 on these shoes or $300 on these shoes. Which do you think will work better? Right. I think you should squat lower.
I went back to training.
They're never like, yeah, that sounds good.
I went back to training completely barefoot recently again. I'm like, you know what? I felt like it's like I don't even need shoes to train, you know.
No, because you don't squat low enough.
No.
You need to work on your ankle flexibility. That whole thing about keeping your leg upright is wrong. That was invented by insurance companies for old fat people so they didn't hurt themselves in the gym.
So you're going to disagree with winning on that one.
Yeah. Dude, I am embarrassed that's how I won that fucking total. I'm embarrassed. At least I didn't fucking sumo. At least I did not sumo. And I didn't bench with a belt or an arch. And I wish I hadn't lifted with a belt. You know why lifters lifted with belts back in the day? So they could catch a continental. That's it.
McLean, the strongman stuff.
That is why belts were invented, to catch the continental. That is it. It doesn't support your back at all.
No, it just allows you back.
Just lets you be fatter. Just lets you be fatter. And then nobody can see how fat you are because you can squish it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's why strongmen wear 3 belts. You got your girdle, you got your foam belt, and then you got your third belt on top.
It's hard one. Yeah.
But we come back to that point with pull-ups, and I mean, I think all of us agree that if a real athlete can move their body through space, I mean that's what sports really are. Yeah. And if you can't move your body through space, we have a problem.
If you can't do a muscle up, you're not strong. And that's just a fact. It is a fact. And it was a hard fact for me to accept. And I had to abandon like a lot of my own self-image and being like, I'm just not fucking strong because it hurts me to do a push-up. It hurts like 11 different places. And that's not right. And so I started working on my wrist flexibility, and like it's still not good, but like it's getting better. You can see how fucked up my bicep is. It's still stuck in my armpit, but like my bicep is a huge ball in my fucking shoulder. It's the worst thing ever. But like,
but
you just have to
here we
suck
have
it up and keep working at it.
Who broke world records in powerlifting admitting this. I mean,
yeah, and I'm telling you, this would not have happened if I had straightened my fucking arms while doing exercises back in the day. I would never have torn my goddamn tricep. Then I would not have torn my bicep, and then I would not have torn my shoulder. So, like, yeah. And a lot of the problems that guys in their 40s are having with pissing that they don't want to tell anybody about are because of knotting in your abs. And there's knotting in your groin, there's knotting in your abs, and it is making it difficult for you to piss. So that's something for you to explore. And let me just tell you, sitting on a rumble roller on your taint with those knobs in your taint, it works, but it doesn't feel great. But yeah, if you're finding you're pissing in spurts, sit your ass on one of those for a few weeks, and then you'll feel shit crack in your hips, and all of a sudden you will piss like you did when you were 16 again.
I actually haven't had those problems, believe it or not, in spite of the gear use.
Oh no, this is a problem with knotting in your lower abdomen and your hips from squatting with a short rep. And I think mine was I had surgery when I was a kid from having a twisted testicle.
Okay.
Which was insanely painful.
I would imagine so.
Yes.
Can imagine.
I have had a lot of injuries, and that was the worst by far and away. Wow. I'm feeling it now. Thanks for bringing that up, guys.
Oh, hey, great. Glad we're able to revive that memory.
Brought it up. We didn't drag that out of you. You brought it up.
It's all Lewis.
I'll take this on board so I don't experience this when I am your guys' age. Thank you very much.
We can help you, Lewis. So
everybody start doing straight arm pullovers.
Jamie's telling you, Lewis, you got to diet down a little bit, and you got to work on your mobility, and that's what Jamie's telling you.
My mobility. All right.
I'm not even telling you to diet, but what every strong man did back in the day, like Donald Dinny, for instance, who, I mean, he still has Iron Brew named after him in Scotland. Have you ever had Iron Brew?
Yeah.
No.
Of course.
Started every fucking day with a 2-mile run. Like every Hackenschmidt, everybody, 2-mile run, 3-mile run, every lifter of that era started every day with calisthenics and a run. And none of it, you're laughing because you're like, I'm not going to fucking run 10 steps. When was the last time you ran?
It's been 20 years. And I used to be a distance runner. That's how I first got into shit before I got into lifting. But I'm laughing because I'm hearing Jamie Lewis say this, because I recall the conversation. We have a mutual friend, Alex Viata. Because I helped him when his business was first growing. I put him on my YouTube about 10 years ago when he was first starting Complete Human Performance, and did an interview with him.
Oh, really?
But I remember I remember you giving him a session is with running. It was something about when you talked with him on your page, like you kind of,
I love Alex. Alex is amazing. But I always thought his running obsession was bizarre. But he's just one of those guys who just loves to run. And I never really loved to run, but I used to run 3 miles every fucking day, religiously every day.
I used to start with 5 miles. And then once I got into lifting, I quit running. Once I discovered the barbell, I'm like, fuck running. I'm not doing this anymore.
You need to jostle yourself. Yeah. You need to get jostled. It's important. And I know that sounds weird, but you'll feel it. It hurts to start running and having everything bouncing around, and you'll try to hold it in place, and then you'll get exhausted and let it bounce. But it needs to bounce. You need to shake shit loose for real. Right. And it hurts like a bastard. It's exhausting. It's embarrassing that you can't run. You just have to do it. And so that's why getting high makes it much easier. And I do it right out in public. So I'm running along a busy road, and I'm high as fuck and running down this sidewalk like I'm playing Ninja Warrior one-man show, and it's fun as shit. I don't give a fuck. But and working on your balance is also important. And balance and cardio are not the same thing. But in that one way, I figured out how to combine them, because I'm not really you're not trying to exhaust yourself. You're just getting shit moving and bouncing around, and like it feels good.
Well,
Fantastic.
the younger guys need to hear this from people like you because there is still that myth in there that cardio kills gains. And
Which it
that
doesn't.
myth
We
is
know it
still
doesn't.
prevalent.
Yeah, we know it doesn't.
Even though we know it's
Yeah.
bullshit, it is still prevalent. That is the first
Even
thing
though
you'll
we
see
know
every
it's
time.
bullshit, Jason
Yeah.
Blaha has not run for 20 years.
I haven't run
He
for
has
20
a
years.
popular YouTube channel where he talks
He's
about
done
fitness.
super gains,
He
nothing
talks
to
about
do.
fitness. He's just not fit. Jason Blaha.
Oh, my haters are going to love that. They're going to take that. That is going to be
Yeah.
seen a million
Here
times.
is some
before.
ammunition for you. I didn't know you had haters. So, all right.
Oh,
Well,
I've got serious
Oh,
haters.
yeah.
Yo, I've
Who is
armed
gonna
them.
put it?
I've armed them for you.
Oh, they'll be contacting you, I'm sure. They'll be like, fuck this guy.
God, I had the worst while I was in that hideous public relationship. I had the worst 4chan trolls up my ass. Oh my God. It was an international coalition of dickheads whose seeming sole purpose was just to annoy me at all times. And I was a shattered mental wreck and drunk at all times. So it was, oh God, that was the worst.
You
I
two
don't
sound
want any
like
more
some-
haters. I'm happy to just keep it posy mostly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless we're talking about Reddit, of course.
Right.
Fucking Reddit. I mean, does anybody even go on Reddit that lifts weights? I can't imagine that they do. It's like Twitter. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Just stay off there. It's all hateful bullshit by
Yeah.
posers.
Well, the thing, and again, I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but I've gone and read some of the gear stuff on Reddit, and you'll see guys talking about this blaster doing, like, oh, my strength has gone up. They're like, I'm benching 225 for 8 reps now, and I'm like, see my eyebrow just raising. You're on how much gear? You're benching 225 for 8, and you're on, a gram and a half. It's like, I think maybe you got some fake gear.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You could always check his blood pressure. I mean, if he's red as a tomato and wheezing, he might be on that much gear. He's just terrified of being overtrained. God forbid he do a push-up in the morning.
Preach about it, kind of shit.
Yeah. So there's interesting stuff on the internet. I think we should probably wind this one down. We're about an hour and a half. We're going to clip out a little bit. I kind of look at the time.
Yeah, you have to cut out my insane sidebar.
Yeah. So we don't have an inciting violence. That's what they'll slap me for. I got hit the other day on one of my workout blogs on my Facebook. I actually had to pull it into not recommendable because they felt it was sexual in nature. And I'm like, I'm just working out in my shorts, So
well, there you go.
Too sexy.
Yeah, I guess so. It's too sexy for them,
Yeah.
It's hard being as sexy as me, though. It's not easy.
It's a cross to bear. It's your cross to bear.
My cross to bear.
Oh, you didn't. So you got to give my fans a blues artist that they can check out.
A blues artist that they can check out. I mean, honestly, I like ZZ Top, Eric Clapton, but I mean, any old stuff. I love BB King. Maybe some Lightning Skyhawk. They can go look that up.
Okay, Lightning Skyhawk. What about Stevie Ray Vaughan? He's not in there.
Oh, I'm a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, but I just assume everyone knows that.
Oh, okay. I was just curious because that's like a musical genre few people ever discuss. So that's why I thought it was interesting. We might as well bring some new artists to light if you had any.
Absolutely. No, I've mostly been listening to older stuff. But I mean, if people want to hear some amazing blues guitar, actually voice too. Stevie Ray Vaughan, you hear him play the guitar and you're like, wow, this guy's phenomenal. And then he sings, you're like, holy shit, he can sing too. But yeah, in terms of that, and the funny thing with Stevie Ray Vaughan, you see that image he put up, and if you ever heard the few interviews done with him, the guy was just super humble and chill.
Was he?
Oh, dude, if you get a chance, go to YouTube.
I was under the impression he was an ass. I guess he was an ass to metal artist or something like that.
No, when you see the interviews, he is just such a very humble person, and he talked about his own struggles with alcohol and substance abuse and addiction, and it's really fascinating. So he was open about some of that stuff. But the guy was just very chill and humble, like not what you would expect given the way the guy plays the guitar on the stage before he died, because he died tragically in a helicopter crash. But Yeah, so definitely, I mean, if people want an introduction.
Yeah, he died kind of at his peak in the 80s, right?
He did. So he had gotten sober and everything. He had gotten off all the drugs and alcohol, and had kind of gone through this changing experience and hit his peak, and then died in a helicopter crash leaving a show.
Huh.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but a phenomenal guitarist. Except on Reddit. On Reddit, you go to any of the Reddit blues stuff, and they'll say he was overrated and he was trash, and But,
Again, I don't know why any thinking person would ever go to Reddit. Reddit is nothing but the opinions of posers. That's it.
Yeah,
It should be called posers.
right. Whereas
like
a
it.
perfect thing, I think it would be worth finding. If any of your fans want to check something out just to really get a feel for Stevie Ray Vaughan, watch like any of his live Texas Flood, or find the guitar lesson. Like go to like YouTube or something and search Stevie Ray Vaughan guitar lesson, because it's a little interview he did, and he busts out and just does Rude Mood right there. Song Rude Mood, which he got won an Emmy for in blues, and it's just him playing it live with no other instruments. Your jaw is going to drop. If anyone who plays the guitar at all, if they haven't seen that, they're going to be like, "Holy shit, that guy's good."
All right, nice.
Yeah. So that's worth checking out. So definitely.
Nice.
And then any metal, hey, since because again I'm out of the metal scene a lot. Any good metal you think I would enjoy? Just if you had to pick one. If you had to pick one.
Okay, because you mentioned Slipknot, I'm going to say Darko US. They they're dope. They're heavy. They got a little bit of an electronic sound, but it's more of that new metal feel. So it's that shit's nice.
It's also King 810 if you're there, Slipknot-y.
Ooh, yeah, King 810 is great.
King 810 are good. Paleface are quite good.
Yeah.
I love Paleface. Oh my God, Paleface. That dude can rap in his death growl so fast. And they're a Swiss band, just a bunch of rich kids from Switzerland who had a fucking helicopter in one of their videos. That's how fucking rich they are. But that band's so good.
One for you, Jamie, might be Black Gold. You might like them if you like the trap metal you were talking about. Black Gold, they're quite good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, sweet. That's it.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So we'll wind this down. Then I'll get all your website info. Anything you want to plug, I'll link it down under my stuff later when I get all this up. And,
cool. I just want to say I have a new podcast. I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but it's called Prize Fighters, Circus Freaks, and Gangsters. And I'm so fucking excited about this thing. Like, I really want people to check it out. This is the way that I can teach people finally about old timey strongmen, and it's in a way that like you can listen with whoever the fuck is around you, and everybody will be interested because I'm actually teaching history the way it's intended to be taught. I got this woman who is a phenomenal food historian whose name is Greta Harden. She was a science teacher for 20 years and now is a food historian. And she and I are reviewing like movies and TV shows about the 19th century and like Warrior and Gangs of New York. So we review them for their historicity and then like give you the real scoop on like how life would have been at that time. So if you want to know how George Hackenschmidt would have spent his fucking day, like this is how we're teaching you. You can see the way he dressed and the way he would have like the places he would have gone and all that shit. And so I'm so excited about this. So I hope everybody checks it out.
All right, very cool. I might see if I can find a way to link it all in some of this later.
Cool.
All right, cool. Well, it's good having you guys on. If you want to do this again sometime, definitely let me know.
Sure, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for letting me plug my show. I'm so excited about it. So I hope everybody checks it out.
All right, cool. Awesome. And we're out.